My name is Michael Gove, and I'm the Secretary of State for Levelling Up Housing and Communities, which means that I'm the Government Minister who's responsible for supporting faith. And that's why I'm delighted to be here in the Speaker's House, in the House of Commons, in order to celebrate Vaisakhi, one of the most important dates in the United Kingdom's calendar. It's an opportunity for us to acknowledge how much the Sikh community contributes to Britain, and also to celebrate everything that Sikhism brings, not just to the United Kingdom, but to the world. The last 2 years have been tough. People haven't been able to meet in Gurdwaras, they haven't been able to celebrate this really important day. But today, here in the Speaker's House and over recent days in Gurdwaras and in homes everywhere, people have had the chance to celebrate, to be together, and also to uphold the values of compassion and generosity and commitment to others that are at the very heart of the Sikh faith, and make me so proud that Britain is, of all the countries in the world, one of those proudest of its Sikh community.
I'm Lindsay Hoyle, I'm the Speaker of the House of Commons.
Amazing. And how many of these Vaisakhi events have you been to?
This is my first, but of course this is the most important event, because this is, in my time, since I've been, of course we've had COVID, so we've not been able to host the events. So I'm pleased to be able to say this is welcoming everybody from the Sikh community. This is important to me and it's important to the House as well.
Amazing. And how important is it that we're now celebrating events like Vaisakhi in the House of Commons?
It's so important. It's about understanding each other's religion, understanding each other's, beliefs of where they come from. It's about understanding each other. It's about respect and tolerance of each other. But the more we get together, the more that we can have a peaceful world. And that's what my life's about. Bringing people together, better understanding, sharing, and actually the respect for each other's faiths.
Hi, John McDonnell, the Member of Parliament for Hayes and Harlington.
Amazing. And how many of the Vaisakhi events in Parliament have you attended?
Well, whenever there's been one for the last 25 years. I helped organise the first ones a number of years ago when we were setting up the all-party group then. Yeah.
And can you speak to kind of how important it is that now in Parliament we are recognised in all of these different cultural events? And
for a long period of time, it was very difficult getting any form of recognition for the Sikh community and the Punjabi culture overall, and also about the survival of the Punjabi language within this country. What we now have is we have a real momentum within party on a cross-party basis where people are working together. And the whole purpose of this really is, first of all, for people to acknowledge the Sikh community within the UK. Secondly, to ensure that the culture is maintained and properly supported. And one of the important things you learn from other cultures as well, the significance of passing on the language to the next generation. I think we're succeeding. There's still some outstanding issues, but we're getting there.
Amazing. And can you speak to just how much it's grown over the last, you've been here since the beginning? So,
there was literally a handful of us, 2 or 3 of us working together. But the good thing about it is that we had massive support within the Sikh community itself. That enabled us then to recruit others to the cause, gave us access eventually to government ministers and the development of policy. And all the advice that we are getting comes from the grassroots of the Sikh community. So this is about not Labour or Tory or Lib Dem MPs speaking and pushing their will upon people. This is about the community itself having a voice, setting the agenda and achieving. It's been brilliant.
I'm Alison, Thewliss, Member of Parliament for Glasgow Central.
Amazing. And is this your first time at Vaisakhi in Parliament?
No, I've been several times and I was really looking forward to it because it's been fine, I suppose, having things online, but actually getting to be here and sharing time and space with people and the pakora and the samosas as well. It's just been a really lovely event and great to see everybody again.
Amazing. And can you speak to, I guess, the importance of Parliament recognising this cultural event and for so long, and how much it's grown and being represented in politics?
I just think it's really good to get that recognition for the Sikh community right across these islands, to have Vaisakhi right here in Parliament, in Speaker's House, and to have an event where people can come together and feel recognised as well. I think that's really important.
Amazing. And in terms of your constituency, is it celebrated quite a lot there? Is there a lot of Sikhs?
It is, yeah. So we've got a big Sikh population in the constituency. We have the big processions through the city as well. So we've got 4 Gurdwara, 3 of them I'm very pleased to say are in my constituency. But they do the big procession through the town between all the different Gurdwaras in the city, and it's just wonderful to see people coming out and celebrating, and it's a lovely thing.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time, Alison. It was lovely to meet you.
Well, I'm Afzal, I'm a Member of Parliament for Manchester, Gorton, and I'm also Shadow Justice Minister.
Amazing. And is this your first Vaisakhi event?
Not at all. I've been born with Vaisakhi. Every time Vaisakhi is around, I'm a Punjabi. So we celebrated Vaisakhi, but I've been here as well a number of times. It's wonderful. We have a good APPG on Sikhs as well, who do an amazing job. And I feel so proud of the richness and diversity that we have.
Yeah, and can you speak to the importance of Vaisakhi to you?
Well, to me, Vaisakhi is an amazing celebration of richness and diversity which exists in South Asia, but far greater than I think I would say. Lots of people globally now celebrate Vaisakhi. It's a great festival and it's a new life in a way.
And in terms of politics, can you speak to how important it is that we bring Vaisakhi and all these other cultural events to politics?
Well, I think if you understand that the world has become a global village, then that means we are interconnected, interdependent with one another. And therefore, it's a duty on all of us to take a step towards one another. And by doing that, you learn and enrich. And we are lucky also living in Britain where, you know, have hundreds of languages, cultures, which we should celebrate and enrich ourselves. So feel so proud that in the heart of Mother of Parliament, we are here celebrating Vaisakhi.
And finally, can you speak to how important it is holding Vaisakhi in person compared to virtually?
Well, look, it's been 2 difficult years for all of us. As humans, touch is probably the most important aspect we have. And suddenly we lost this for 2 years. Isolation, losing the loved ones has had a huge impact. I think everybody feels so excited to be back in person, holding events the way we know things.
Thank you. No,
Thank
I hope
you.
you enjoy your evening.
My name is Major Daljinder Singh Virdee. I'm the chairman of the Defence Sikh Network, so we're the official organisation within the UK Ministry of Defence that represents Sikhs. So it's a privilege for me to be able to serve in this way for my community, and we represent Sikhs that are serving in the Navy, the Army, the Royal Air Force and the Civil Service as well, so right across defence. And really our whole purpose is about supporting Sikhs who are in defence and ensuring that they can serve fully without any problems. So that's who I'm representing today, and it's a real privilege to be here today at the House of Parliament to celebrate Vaisakhi, which is our most important festival for Sikhs. It's the foundation of our faith, and it's really where Sikhs were given this identity. So me as a turban-wearing Sikh in the British Army today, I stand out. And I was made to stand out. You know, it was because of this festival. It's just a real privilege to be in the home of democracy and to be celebrating Vaisakhi.
Amazing. Is this your first time here celebrating Vaisakhi?
No, I've been fortunate to be here quite a few times and represent in uniform, so it's good to see familiar faces.
Yeah, and can you speak to, I guess, the importance of doing it in person? Obviously, the online ones were symbolic, but they were, not quite the same.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, human-to-human connection and networking is so important, and that's done face-to-face. So it's really great to just meet people again, seeing so many familiar faces I haven't seen in years. So it's just great to finally get out of the COVID pandemic, and the Army played a huge role in supporting the nation, and I was really privileged to be able to be part of that. And it's great that now we're hopefully over it and we're meeting in person and celebrating festivals again.
Yeah, and last question, but
Sure.
Can you speak to, I guess, the growth of how many people now celebrate Vaisakhi who are non-Sikh maybe, and more people know about it?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, for example, we in Defence, there was actually a Defence post about Vaisakhi. So, this is a Defence-wide post on our main intranet page where Vaisakhi is being mentioned. So it's a huge moment for us. I grew up during the 90s where you'd hardly see a Sikh on TV, or you'd hardly, I was learning about my own culture and my own faith and identity, but I just wouldn't see it anywhere else.
Yeah.
And to be able to see it in the place I work, it just makes me feel included. It makes me feel really proud that our faith is being acknowledged and my identity is being acknowledged, and more to come.
Amazing. Well, thank you very much. It was nice to speak to you.
Brilliant, thank you.
My name is Warrant Officer Ashok Kumar Chauhan, MBE from the Army's engagement team.
Fabulous. And can you tell us what this event means to you today?
Well, as part of the Army, we believe in multicultural, and to come into the Speaker's House and celebrate Vaisakhi with the community, it shows how diverse we are.
Yeah, and how does it make a difference being in person rather than online? And
Oh, it is fantastic. I've attended all the events, and for 2 years we did, and to come here and meet so many people and also look at the celebrations. So it's really, really good to be in close bond with people and having a good time.
Oh, fantastic. And what did you personally do to celebrate?
Well, I personally, obviously, I go up to any events because the army attend different events. So I've been to all the events celebrated. Yesterday, I drove through Slough because they had the Nagar Kirtan there, but we usually do it in Southall, which is the largest one outside India.
Yes, I work there. It's very big.
It is, and the good thing about it is you meet people, and letting the rest of the country know how diverse we are. And even though I'm a Hindu, but I will tell you now, the Sikhs, when it comes to Seva, they are second to none.
Oh, fantastic. Well, thank you very much. It was nice to meet you.
My pleasure. And happy Vaisakhi to
Happy Vaisakhi.
all the people out there.
So I'm Harmeet Singh Gill, the General Secretary of Singh Sabha Southall.
Fantastic. And can you tell us what it means to you to be here today?
I mean, after two and a bit years of not being able to come out, celebrate Vaisakhi in Parliament, so it's good to be back, good to meet so many new faces, see some familiar old ones. Sikhs and Gurdwaras from around the country are here, get a chance to meet some of the MPs and our representatives. So it's a great chance to have some s'mores and also celebrate Vaisakhi.
Yeah, and can you tell us the difference, or rather, what did you do to celebrate this year on the day?
So finally, we are, with the Sangat, we're able to have our usual divans of Kirtan, Gatha, which is always great. But actually, we try to evolve and think back and reflect. What are the virtues that Guru Sahib instilled through the creation of the Khalsa? And if we even think about the Panj Pyare, so the five virtues of Daya, compassion, of Dharam, of righteousness, of Himmat, strength, of Mohkam, detachment, and Sahib. Those are the things we really want to focus on and actually try to instill in our own lives, and even within our political systems and our economic systems. So it's actually really it's quite touching to be here in Parliament, so where the laws are made, and those virtues are needed more than ever in our political systems. And it's not just for the Khalsa, but actually we should be preaching those and spreading those in all our lives.
Yeah, can you speak more a little bit to, I guess, the need for more people to understand the festival and actually more inclusive?
So if you think about the historic context of when the Khalsa was created, the world was full of tyranny, it was a dark place. But actually today we face very similar challenges, and Guru Sahib created the Khalsa as a solution. So if our political system, our economic system was based on those pure virtues of righteousness, of strength, of doing good, and looking after others, and we would solve a lot of the world's problems. But I suppose it's our duty to pressure on our representatives to instill those kind of laws which are righteous.
Amazing. Well, thank you. It was lovely to meet you.
Yeah, I'm Alex Sobel. I'm the Member of Parliament for Leeds North West.
Amazing. And is this your first Vaisakhi?
Oh no, we've got a really vibrant local Sikh community in Leeds, and Hindu community as well. I've got a Hindu temple in my constituency and a Sikh temple, Sikh Gurdwara, a number of Sikh Gurdwaras very close, and I've been many times.
Is this the first one?
In Speaker's House?
Yeah.
I think COVID has wiped my brain, but I'm pretty sure I've come to one Speaker's House reception before, yeah.
And can you speak to, I guess, the importance of non-Sikhs celebrating Vaisakhi, or at least being aware of kind of what it stands for?
Absolutely. I think that it's really important that we recognise the Festival of Vaisakhi, particularly this year, actually, because this year we've got Ramadan, Passover, Easter, of course, and Vaisakhi all coming together, showing the importance of faith in society and how important it is to faith communities.
Amazing. And do you think you'll start seeing it more, represented in Parliament? That's what we were speaking with our last speaker, is, this different idea of different faith and different kind of pluralism, etc.
We already have really vibrant all-party groups on faith and on having support multi-faith communities and recognising religious freedom abroad as well, and how religions portray in the media. I've been involved with both of those all-party groups. So I think there already is a real view about faith and in Parliament and in communities, but it's probably a lot of it is to do with the political point of view. Mm-hmm. So actually, having this idea of the sort of cultural, social point of view, as well as sort of political and faith point of view, is really important. I think that probably is something that we need to have more sight of in Parliament.
Yeah, this idea of pluralism, just seeing things from a different perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you very much,
Thank
Alex.
you.
It was nice to meet you.
My name is Manjit Gill, and I'm the founder and CEO of Binti International.
Fabulous. And how did Binti International celebrate Vaisakhi this year?
It's an interesting one, right? We've been out of whack for 2 years, so I would say that it's really, really lovely to be. It's the first event actually that we're doing face to face, so It's awesome. Normally we go to the Gurdwara and go and meet, do the general things, go and celebrate with our family, for example. And that's it, really.
Lovely. And what does Vaisakhi mean to you?
Vaisakhi for us is, we don't spend enough time celebrating who we are as people. And I think over the years, especially the last decade, I'm far more in tune with who I am and where I come from. So Vaisakhi it's like that time in the year when we all get together and we remember who we are, why we're here, and the things that we have to do.
Yeah. And how many of the Vaisakhis in Parliament have you come to?
I think this is my third one, but this is probably the most special because we haven't done it for so long.
Yeah. And last question, I suppose, but can you speak to the importance of being able to do it in person again, finally, after online for so long?
It's just different, isn't it? There's an energy. I know we can't really touch, but we do. It's just really nice and to meet people again.
Yeah.
I think it's the energy, isn't it? Because you get so tired of doing what I have. Virtual is really difficult. It's just not. It's a different feeling, and even just meeting yourself. It's just different,
finally,
isn't it?
after months.
Yeah.
I'm Amrit Maan, I'm a lawyer and a caterer, owner of the Punjab restaurant Covent Garden.
They have gone down well. The food has gone down
Yes, it's important, and for our Sikh events and festivals, food is so key, it's so important, and I hope today's guests are enjoying the food. We've been doing this for a number of years, and it's traditional Punjabi samosa and pakore, and they're vegan, and it's served with tamarind sauce. So, and with a good cup of cha, you can't go wrong.
Exactly. So can you talk to how important Vaisakhi is for you?
Vaisakhi is really important. It's the birth of our culture. When our 10th Guru baptised 5 Sikhs, and these Sikhs were from all walks, backgrounds, and throughout India, and then the 5 Sikhs then baptise our 10th Guru. It's key, it's fundamental. Sikhi for me is very important, and that is the belief of the 10 Gurus, our 11th Guru, which is our sacred scripture, the Guru Granth Sahib Ji, and of course the importance of taking Amrit and the 5Ks.
Amazing. And how important is it that Vaisakhi is being held in the House of Parliament?
It's key. It's wonderful for the Speaker to actually open his doors. I've been involved behind the scenes, which I like to be always. And so this is a number of years now. I can't remember, maybe the 8th or 9th year, but we've had that hiatus, the 2 years down with COVID. So it's wonderful. They've redone up the place. And it's so important for minorities, particularly Punjabi Sikh community, to really participate and come. I have people here who never ever had the opportunity and chance to come here and have a cup of cha and a samosa and a bagora and overlook the River Thames and also meet their local MPs, and that's crucial. I think Sikhs nowadays are another tribe of the British community, and we have a complex and interesting issues which we need to talk about, particular trade, human rights, and female empowerment, elderly abuse, financial abuse, so much. I could really go on, but I won't. I'm just a caterer.
Well, I was going to say, last question, how important obviously is it to be in person now? You can serve your food.
It's fundamental. Last 2 years, the Punjab Covent Garden, we got really involved in charity. We always do, but we got involved with all the local food, homeless charities, community centres, food banks, and it's fundamental. And that's what Sikhi is. It's our DNA. It's what our gurus taught us, and that's what is across all humanity and all the faiths, is to reach out. And for us Sikhs, we see humanity as one. And so, I was really privileged and honoured to be involved in feeding over 200,000 people last 2 years. But really it's down to my team. They were brilliant. And that's what the values is of Punjab Covent Garden. Very, Punjabi and very Sikhi. In that it's not about what you have or who you are. It's about you give and you give back. And that's Sikhi.
Thank you, and thank you for the food.
Pleasure, always, I hope they invite me back next year.
If it goes down well, I'm sure it will.
Sure.
Thanks.
Virendra Sharma, Member of Parliament for Ealing Southall.
Amazing. And how many of these Vaisakhi events have you been to in Parliament?
I think it's nearly over 15.
Wow.
I have attended. I never counted it. But I only counted when I got elected. But I've been here before as well. So it's a long time. Now it is more popular.
Yeah.
As we always say, it is in the parliamentary calendar now that we organize it so successfully. It used to be small, gesture type Vaisakhi event. Now it is proper Vaisakhi, and I feel proud and honored to be part of it.
Yeah, and can you talk to the importance of Parliament now recognising Vaisakhi and putting it in its calendar and in politics?
The way I look at it, if we look at the principles of Vaisakhi, why the Khalsa was created, what were the reasons behind, what the message was Guruji given, equality, fraternity, unity, fighting against crime and be tolerant. And if you look at the parliament role, not the parliamentarian's role, but the parliament itself, the values it has created, it's very close.
Yeah.
Tolerance, peace, equality, unity, they all bring together. So that's why it's important that in the highest and the most important place in British democratic system, recognizing and holding the event is a clear message that we recognize the role, the message given through Vaisakhi event, Khalsa Panth's creation, and the role of the British democratic structures. That's the bringing together.
That was the perfect answer.
Thank you.
And finally, how much have you seen Vaisakhi now grow, in your constituency? How many people celebrate it who are Sikh, non-Sikh?
Every MP will claim that they hold the largest procession in their constituency. Yeah. If you talk to a Midland MP, he will or she will say the same. I come from Southall, heart of the Punjabi community.
So I'm Preet Gill. I'm the Member of Parliament for Birmingham Edgbaston. I'm also the chair of the All-Party Parliamentary Group for British Sikhs.
Amazing. And how many of these Vaisakhi events have you come to?
Well, it'll be coming up to 5 years since I've been elected, but of course with the pandemic we haven't been able to have many events for the last 3 years. Yeah. So actually this is probably my second or third, but it's amazing. I mean, look, we're in the Speaker's State Room, opening up Parliament for so many of our community members to come in and celebrate what the creation of the Khalsa, which is so important for Sikhs. Yeah. And I suppose more so now because those values of equality and of freedom are absolutely being attacked across the world if you see what's going on in Ukraine. And when I was in Poland, it was wonderful to see United Sikhs and Khalsa Aid actually there delivering humanitarian aid and support to Ukrainian refugees. It's something we've seen throughout the pandemic from the Sikh community up and down the country providing selfless service. So yes, this is a really important time. And for me, I want the community to reaffirm its commitment to those values and making sure we are a strong voice for all, no matter where they're suffering.
Amazing. And in terms of kind of representing Vaisakhi in Parliament, how important is that now it's starting to be, so widely recognised?
I think it's really important because, of course, so many people still don't know why we celebrate Vaisakhi. I mean, there's the natural thing to say it's our New Year, and it's not our New Year, and this is something that gets reported in the media. So I think it's so important for education for MPs. Yeah. MPs get to meet their constituents. And I suppose, Parliament should reflect the place and the very people it serves and reflects. And so enabling more people to come in, celebrate their culture and community, community events with us here is really, really important. And so I'm really delighted that we could do this.
Amazing. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
So my name's Chauhan. I'm the Member of Parliament for Newcastle upon Tyne Central in the North East of England, and I'm also the Shadow Minister for Science, Innovation and Research.
Amazing. And is this your first Vaisakhi event in Parliament? Or
No, I've come to them, well, before COVID. Yeah. I used to come every year, or every time they took place, just about. And obviously in Newcastle as well, when I am in Newcastle over Vaisakhi, the local, the Gurdwara in the centre of Newcastle, I visit there just to speak and to learn and to take part, to participate in it.
Amazing. And in terms of representation in Parliament now with Vaisakhi. How important is it that it's being held here? It's now in the MP calendar.
Yeah, I think it's really important. I think it's great that this year, this is the first year I think it's been actually in the Speaker's rooms, because that really puts it at the heart of Parliament and democracy, and it shows that, and we have more elected Sikh MP members of Parliament now, and it shows that both through representation, having Sikh people here, but also through the engagement with the communities, that the participation in both representation and participation of Sikh communities is increasing, is growing. I certainly hope it is. And for, I know in Newcastle, the work that the Sikh community do, our local Gurdwara do, is really important. It's been very important through COVID, and I don't think it gets the recognition it deserves. And so this helps to get greater recognition.
Amazing. And have you seen in your own constituency this growth of kind of people now knowing a little bit more about Sikhism and Vaisakhi, etc.?
Certainly, I've seen a growth in people knowing about it, and we have a relatively new central Gurdwara in Newcastle, and the dome can be seen from most of the city. So I think that does help, but I do think there's still some way to go in ensuring that all our different communities. Newcastle is very proud of its different communities, and there's a great interest in an interfaith group, but I still think that there's some way to go in making sure that everybody is aware of the work that the Sikh communities do.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So my name's Suzanne Webb. I'm the Member of Parliament for Stourbridge, which is in the West Midlands.
Amazing. And how many of these Vaisakhi events have you been able to come to?
So here in Parliament, actually only one, and this is the first one I've been able to come to because of COVID and all the restrictions and being locked down and stuff. So it's absolutely thrilled to be here today, and particularly in this beautiful environment.
Yeah, and how important do you think it is now that the Parliament is recognising so many different cultural faiths, and how important it is to see it in politics?
Really, really important. We're a fantastic multicultural country, and we should celebrate all things good about being multicultural, but particularly in this instance today, the Sikh community and how important it is to them.
Amazing. And yeah, last question. In your constituency, how much did you see Vaisakhi being celebrated? Is there a lot of Sikhs in your constituency?
There aren't actually in my community. However, in the West Midlands, and certainly the urban West Midlands, it's a fantastic, vibrant community. So in the past, I have been invited to local events, and please keep those invites coming, because we don't have many in Stourbridge, if any at all, but they usually tend to be outside the area in Birmingham or somewhere in Wolverhampton. So please keep those invites coming.
Yeah, hopefully more and more people will hear about the...
Exactly.
Right. I'm Bhupinder Singh Basin. I'm involved with the Interfaith Youth Trust in the UK, and also another organisation called the Putar Association, which basically brings together people who are exiled from the Putar region, which is in West Punjab, which is in modern-day Pakistan. So all of my ancestors are from that region, and so we've obviously sort of have migrated. Initially, my ancestors being made refugees, and moving into India, and then moving to different countries, and eventually here to the UK. And so we've recently made a documentary just chronicling the last 100 years of that community and the different types of issues that have come up, and how we've, living here in the UK as an integral part of the community here now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of history there, but so how important is it now for you to see Vaisakhi being celebrated in Parliament?
Absolutely. Well, that just goes to show how Sikhs have really sort of integrated within British society, and to be able, this is the 15th year of Vaisakhi in Parliament, and it's great that we've been able to come and celebrate in this very, very special place. And it's great now that we have 2 MPs from a Sikh background, and we really, really hope for many more to join their ranks in the coming years.
Amazing. And last question, but how much have you seen in the UK Vaisakhi being celebrated more and more by non-Sikhs and just different faiths?
Well, it's great actually. Just today, I met a workman who was from a Muslim background, and we were just started talking, and he said, "Oh, I love it at Vaisakhi when you come out in Southall and start serving food to people, and especially I guess during Ramadan they were thinking about food a bit more than normal." But yes, it's great that other communities do get involved, and actually this pandemic really personally, I was involved with helping serve take food to food banks and to local hospitals from the Gurdwara.
Yeah.
And that whole the appreciation we had from the communities that we tried to help was just amazing, really. And the food bank celebrated Vaisakhi and so on, and it was really great to be part of that. And they gave little awards out, and it was
Oh, amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time and the work you've been doing.
My name is Behram Kapadia. I represent the Zoroastrian Parsi community of the United Kingdom and Europe. And in fact, ours is the first and the oldest religion in the world, going back to, I think, 1500 BC. So I'm ever so pleased to have been invited today to your Vaisakhi festival. All the speeches have been excellent. I have the greatest respect for the Sikh community for what they've done, not just in India, but worldwide. I mean, even now helping in Ukraine and other parts of the world. And also during the pandemic, I know that, in fact, in our local hospital, there were some Sikhs who had set up kitchens, etc., to provide for free food, etc. And I have, not only I have the house, but I've also got my daughter-in-law who's a Sikh. So they are close to me and always have been.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And how important is it that Parliament is celebrating Vaisakhi and they're holding these events?
I think it just goes to show how the United Kingdom has changed, because it is extremely important, because we are, at the end of the day, we are all human beings, we are one, and we are happy to be in this country which provides us with so many facilities and all the options and, for us to make progress in this world.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Manjit Singh Desi, the Member of Parliament for Slough.
Amazing. And how important is Vaisakhi for you?
Well, Vaisakhi is incredibly important because it marks the creation of the Khalsa in 1699 by the 10th Sikh Guru, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, and it encapsulates the key tenets of the faith around love, around compassion, around sharing with others, and also the 10th Sikh Guru, as he very eloquently highlighted, that I reside within the Khalsa. The Khalsa is my special form, and that is very important for the Sikhs to remember the key message from Vaisakhi as well. It's not just about standing up for your own rights, but about standing up for others. It's about standing up for human rights of all humanity, regardless of background or gender or colour or creed. And that is why I want to pay a special tribute to my very, very good friend, the Right Honourable Pat McFadden MP. He, long before the likes of myself were even elected in Slough 5 years ago, he has been a champion of Sikh issues, and he has teamed up, as always, in the Speaker's staterooms, thanks to our Speaker for that. But whether it's the likes of British Sikh Consultative Forum, Dr. Rai, Dr. Sadhu Singh, and all the other organisations that have combined to put on such a magnificent event. And we're also very, very grateful, as ever, to the Punjab restaurant, who have made sure that everybody is fed and watered.
Yes. And on that note, how important is it that Vaisakhi is now being recognised in Parliament and being celebrated here in terms of, representation in politics?
I think that it's very important because it is a case of acceptance. Is about according respect. It's that interfaith aspect. Within our Parliament, we see such events here. We have debates in Parliament on Vaisakhi and about Sikh issues as well. We've seen recently here in London, the Vaisakhi in the Square organised by my good friend, the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, and others. And there are Vaisakhi processions, Nagar Kirtan processions in towns and cities across the UK, including in my Slough constituency. And that is very, very important because it brings together the whole community, not just the Sikh community, but the wider community, to celebrate these colourful, magnificent events.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for
Thank you,
your
Bethan.
time.
Pleasure.
My name is Mariano Marcigaglia, and I am a Buddhist chaplain. You can see the little stall representing the Buddhist Society and the network of Buddhist organizations. Very grateful that we're being invited. It has been a tough few years, the last couple of years, especially for minority faiths. We found it very difficult to get into hospitals. A lot of, I'm sure, Sikh Buddhists died without proper spiritual support. And so it is important that we come together and think of ways in which we can, in future, work better in pandemics and other emergency situations. And I am glad to see that the Sikh community is taking a lead in that sense because they are better organized than ourselves. And I look forward to working with them. It has been an honor being here.
Amazing. Is this your first Vaisakhi event in Parliament?
Yes, Vaisakhi, yes. I've been here for the Hindu, the Chinese, but the first time with the Sikh community.
Amazing. And how important is it with this idea of interfaith being represented in politics and seen and held in Parliament?
Yes, for the minorities, it is important so that we can feel included in the public life and that we belong rather than being always at the margin, because it can become a habit, just considering ourselves as belonging to the margins. And that, as the Sikh community has so beautifully shown, that the things can be organized in an amazing way, and I am impressed.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time.
I'm Nikki. I'm from the SAFE program by the Community Security Trust that shares the Jewish community's security knowledge and advice and experience with other vulnerable groups.
Amazing. And is this your first Vaisakhi event at Parliament?
It's my first Vaisakhi event anywhere.
Amazing.
I know.
How have you found it?
It's been lovely. I've really felt the warmth of the interfaith aspect of it, welcoming everybody from all faiths together and in such a high-profile venue is great.
Amazing. And in terms of kind of how important it is to have this representation and events like this being held in Parliament and discussed in politics, how do you see that going forwards?
I mean, I just think it's really great to have a high profile on the fact that we can actually all work together for a common goal, and we have so much in common and so few differences, and if we just embrace the commonality, and doing that in a high profile area just gives it a little bit more welly, really, doesn't it?
It definitely does. Yeah, and how much have you learned about Vaisakhi then?
Well, everything I know about it I've learned here today, so that's great.
All learning. Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Hi, I'm Captain Ramni Kaur. I'm the Assistant General Secretary at Khalsa Jatha Gurdwara, which is one of the oldest Gurdwara in Europe. So it has quite a lot of history, and also being one of the only Gurdwara in central London as well. So yes, we are meeting the spiritual needs for a lot of our young Sikhs who are working in city during the week, and of course we have Sangat members who come to us on the weekends and then on other days. So yeah, it's a great honour to be part of the committee at the Gurdwara Sahib. Yes.
And how important is this event being held in House of Parliament to young Sikhs in particular, but all Sikh communities?
Well, it's quite an iconic thing. It's quite I think a big integrating step by the government. And today in the speech acknowledging the contribution of Sikhs, not just in the pandemic and otherwise as well, I think that calls for a round of applause, because we have been long waiting for that acknowledgement. So I think that's a really fantastic move by the government, and so appreciate that. We have to understand some minorities, ethnic groups who don't have that recognition. Just these small recognitions go a long way in building that bond of friendship. So yeah, it's absolutely amazing.
Amazing. And last one, but how important is Vaisakhi to you?
Oh, it's my identity. That's when I was born. So that's what Vaisakhi means to me. So it's like how individuals will be celebrating their birthday because that's their birthday. That's our birth. That's the birth of Sikhi. So there are no words to describe what it means to me. It's just everything that I am today.
Hello, I'm Gurpreet Singh Anand from the Khalsa Jatha British Isles, which is the oldest Gurdwara and Sikh institution in Europe, established in 1908.
Wow. And how important is Vaisakhi to you?
Vaisakhi is important to me because as an Amritdhari Sikh, that becomes my birthday. So we have this belief that when you have Amrit done, that day is actually your birthday, because at that point you start a new life. And the concept of Vaisakhi for us as a Khalsa is that we have this belief we're all equal, because after taking Amrit, we all are, there's no difference between someone or anyone else. We're all the same. And that taking that equality forward and doing good for all of humanity, starting to see your soul and others' souls as the same and realizing God in all.
Amazing answer. And on that note, how important is it that Vaisakhi is being recognised in Parliament and hopefully in politics?
I believe the concepts from Sikhism and from Vaisakhi have a lot to offer the world, especially in the Houses of Parliament. The Sikhs we're very altruistic. We believe in serving communities and improving governance structures. So there's governments can always do with improvement, and I believe the Sikhs have a lot to offer wherever they are in the world towards that.
So I'm Virdee Dosanjh, and I'm the Strategics Operations Manager from the Khalsa Academy. The Khalsa Academy here today to celebrate Vaisakhi. We opened the ceremony with our children playing Kirtan today, which was amazing, and it's been an absolute privilege that we were here, and it's all down to our wonderful MP, Pat McFadden, who emailed me and said, Brinda, would you like to bring the children down? And our children have been celebrating and practicing all over Easter so that they could get all their Kirtan right and their Shabads were right, and they've had the most wonderful time celebrating Vaisakhi in this amazing, iconic building. I mean, what more could we ask for?
Yeah, well, they were fantastic.
Yeah.
So how important is it for, especially these young Sikhs, to kind of be able to perform here, but also celebrate Vaisakhi in the House of Parliament?
Well, I think Vaisakhi for us anyway is a huge event, and it's just, it's so important for children to learn the history behind it and why we do it and why we celebrate it. But also, that coming together as a community which is one of the vital parts of being a Sikh, is being amazing. And for them to come here and be part of this. In fact, I haven't been able to see any of my children all evening, because all they've done is they've spent their time walking around, talking to everybody and asking them, what do you do? And I think they are just in awe of the fact that, it's possible to be working in places like this. And I think that they need to be inspired and motivated and understand that it's all possible, which is what we're here to do.
So my name's Pat McFadden, and I'm the MP for Wolverhampton South East.
Amazing. And how many of these Vaisakhis have you run?
I think this is about the 10th.
Wow.
So I've been doing this for many years. In previous years, we have been in different parts of Parliament, but until the pandemic and for a few years before that, and tonight, we're here in the Speaker's staterooms, which is the heart of Parliament and definitely the best parliamentary venue that we've ever held of a Vaisakhi event in.
Amazing. And how important is it that we're seeing Vaisakhi and other cultural events being so recognised in Parliament and in politics now?
It's very important, because this is what Britain is today. It's a multi-faith society, and Vaisakhi is the most important occasion in the Sikh religious calendar. And so it's really important that we celebrate that and other religious festivals when they come around here in the heart of our democracy. And as an MP representing a big Sikh community in Wolverhampton South East, I'm really proud to play my part in hosting the event and in welcoming Sikhs from all over the United Kingdom to Parliament to celebrate Vaisakhi.
Amazing. And last question, but how much have you seen Vaisakhi grow over the last couple of years since you've been running it for the last 10 years now?
Oh, I think it's grown a lot. I mean, obviously during the pandemic, like everything else, everything had to be scaled back. This event was online last year. It wasn't physical, but in my constituency, for example, the other day, there was a huge Nagar Kirtan procession, thousands of people. It's a very joyful, colourful event. It's really well marshalled and run. And although it's mainly the Sikh community who are taking part, it's an event for the whole city. It's part of our cultural religious calendar in Wolverhampton, and that's the same in many towns and cities around the country. So this is part of what the United Kingdom is today.
I think it was really important to raise awareness of what Vaisakhi is and how Kirtan is, and how beautiful it is to witness and how beautiful it is to see it be performed. I think it was really, really important for awareness and Sikhi.
Amazing, especially in the younger community then. Do you see that this is growing more and more, people are celebrating more?
Yeah.
it's really good because we get to, if other kids watch us, they would want to join too, and that just makes a really nice community for us to everyone to enjoy.
Amazing. And how did you celebrate Vaisakhi this year?
So there's normally a Nagar Kirtan every year, but due to COVID, there hasn't been one for the past couple of years. So this year was actually the first Nagar Kirtan in a very long time. So people would walk the Nagar Kirtan to symbolise the strength of the Khalsa Pan.
Amazing. And did you enjoy performing?
Yeah.
Very good. Well done.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Yes, I'm Seema Malhotra and I'm the Labour Member of Parliament for Feltham and Heston.
Amazing. And how many of these Vaisakhi events have you been to, if any?
I've been to a large number of them. I've probably been to about 10.
Wow.
And have also helped organise some of them as well, so working very closely with Pat McFadden.
Amazing. And how important is it that we're seeing now Vaisakhi being celebrated in the House of Commons and it's been in the calendar?
I think it's incredibly important that we see Vaisakhi celebrated here, and it's a real privilege that the Speaker has been able to host us here in Speaker's House, because this is an event that really is cross-party in the way it brings MPs together, but it brings us together connected with the Sikh community and friends of the Sikh community across the country. It's been so important as well to see the interfaith dimension, where the organisers, the British Sikh Consultative Forum, have also wanted to bring other voices in, because the Sikh religion is a very inclusive one, and it's definitely been founded on those principles of everybody being equal, respect for all, regardless of religion and background, and the sense in which, Hindus and Muslims, when they, in one of the sayings of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, there's no difference between them. And also, there's no difference in respect between the genders as well. It's in a religion that really puts gender equality at the heart of those values too. So it's been really important to hear the religious significance of Vaisakhi and the founding of the Khalsa in 1699, but also the community and the social significance of the Sikh faith in all of our communities across the world. So it's a true pleasure to be able to be here today. We've also launched the National Sikh Awareness and History Month here, which we managed to do before COVID, and which we want to have being every April. And that is a way in which Parliament also marks the importance of the Sikh faith, the contribution of Sikhs to our country, but how we all come together in an interfaith understanding of each other's lives.
Amazing. And final question, but how is Vaisakhi celebrated in your constituency?
Vaisakhi is celebrated in my constituency with a lot of respect for the religion. I was at the Gurdwara this year with the changing of the Nishan Sahib. That's the flag that you see outside the Gurdwara. And it's a tremendously poignant ceremony and coming together. It's often celebrated as well with the Nagar Kirtan, with the procession that goes through the community. There hasn't been able to be as much in the COVID times, but it's started again in different ways. So it takes the message of the Sikh faith out in a peaceful way across the community and touches the other faiths and groups on the way for the sharing both of message, of community, of love, of religion, and of food and celebration that is all part of Vaisakhi.
Amazing. No, thank you so much for
Thank
your time.
you.